everybody, welcome back to another episode of Cavanaugh's Corner. Today on the show, I'm going to be finishing out my Rambo trilogy reviews, and this is, of course, Rambo 3 on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray, and I've got to say, I was actually really impressed with this disc. I mean, I've been impressed with all the Rambo movies on 4K so far, but this one was actually the best out of all of them, surprisingly. Of course, it is the more recent film. This came out in 1988, and it's still 30 years old, but still, I really enjoyed this 4K Blu-ray disc. And, this movie is a major guilty pleasure for me. I always enjoyed Rambo 3, even though it's completely and utterly ridiculous. I mean, this one makes the second one look completely normal, which is really saying something. In this movie, Rambo goes to Afghanistan to rescue his friend Colonel Troutman, who is played yet again by Richard Crenna, who actually does a really good job in this one again. He actually gets to be in some of the action this time around, which is pretty cool. But the movie is completely bonkers. I mean, Stallone basically defeats the Soviet army in Afghanistan almost single-handedly. I mean, it's complete insanity. Stallone shoots an explosive-tipped arrow at a helicopter and completely blows the helicopter up. There are so many moments in this film that I could talk about. If you haven't seen Rambo 3, don't expect much out of this film. Just expect a completely insane action film with Stallone running around with no shirt on again, looking, like a mountain. He is just a ridiculous character in this film at this point. Rambo actually falls into the whole one-liner thing in this one, too, where Stallone actually has some really strange moments as Rambo where the comedy comes out, and he drops some really funny lines, like near the end of the film. Him and Richard Crenna get surrounded by, like, the entire Soviet army, and I think Richard Crenna says something like, "What's your plan, John?" And, Rambo just says, "Well, surrounding them's out." And I'm like, what? Like, is this even the same character as the first two movies? But anyway, whatever. It's a lot of fun. It's very stupid, but it's Rambo 3. I think this movie at one point held the record for most body count in a movie, like highest number of deaths in a film. It might still, I don't know, but I remember it did at one point for quite a few years. So, anyway, how's the new 4K disc? It's really impressive. I really like the 4K disc on this. I thought First Blood Part 2 looked good. This looks actually better. This movie shines on 4K. I mean, the second one looked great. There were some really incredible moments in that one. But the fact that most of this movie takes place in a desert during the day really helps out, I think. The brightness levels seem to be much brighter than the regular Blu-ray from many years ago. Again, the movie is completely restored, so it is a new remastered, restored version. So the picture overall just looks better. Again, it is the newest film of the three, so it is going to naturally look better, but the nighttime scenes in the film, I should say, really were just easier on the eyes. The spotlights give the whole scenery a blue hue to it, which I thought was actually really beautiful. There's also a scene where Rambo and Richard Crenna are in a cave, and Stallone and Richard Crenna are kind of hiding from these bad guys, and of course Stallone comes out and dispatches all of them, but he attaches a glow stick to one of his bows, and when he shoots the guy with it, the blue color is unbelievably beautiful looking, and you don't get black level issues like you did with the first movie in certain scenes. The black levels throughout look, really good. Again, it's actually a very bright film because most of the movie takes place during the day, but the night scenes did look beautiful in 4K. No issues with black levels as far as I could see. The daytime scenes are just knockout gorgeous. They are really, really great looking. The HDR in this, even though, yet again, there's no Dolby Vision on this disc, it's just HDR10, the HDR10 really does a good job of highlighting detail, really bringing out some colors, skin tones. There's a lot of beards in this film. The Afghani freedom fighters really have really, really detailed faces in this. Stallone, yet again, with the stubble and the scars on his chest and the long hair and all that stuff, you can really pick up on detail on that 4K disc that you just never saw before. And it is pretty striking. Some stuff is actually really, really wild looking. But the movie looks amazing. I mean, overall, the entire movie looked absolutely outstanding. The biggest thing with this is the explosions. I have to talk about explosions because this movie has a ton of explosions, and the explosions with that HDR10, they are ridiculous looking. Keep in mind that almost everything you see in this movie was done for real. So all the explosions, there's no CGI in this movie. It is all real in-camera explosions, with the exception of one composite explosion. Yet again, it was a real explosion that was just matted into another frame, and it looks good. It looks really good. They are very, very bright because of the HDR on this, and I was impressed. I was really impressed all around. Now, the sound, yet again, I'm pretty sure it's just a 5.1. I just want to double check while I got the disc in my hand. It is just a 5.1 DTS master audio, but it sounds pretty good. I'm going to be honest with you. And going back to the old Blu-ray, watching that for a few minutes afterwards, really, you know, for some reason it just sounds better. Again, it very well could be the same sound mix, same as for the other two Rambo films that I've reviewed. But that, you know, that DTS sound mix ain't nothing to sneeze at. It's a pretty solid sound mix. Yet again, this movie's got a lot of shooting, a lot of explosions, and they really placed it well in the surrounds, and it was good. It was a really good sound on this. No complaints for the sound either. Yet again, with this set, you do get a digital copy and a regular 1080 Blu-ray. The regular 1080 Blu-ray is yet again a restored version of the film, and yet again they misspelled restoration in the credits. I'm sorry, not in the credits, but in the menu of the regular Blu-ray. It's just, you know, a quick little featurette showing you comparisons of what the film looked like before they restored it and after the film company, Studio Canal, restored it. And restoration's misspelled again. Again, they did it with all three. It's funny, whatever. But one thing I do have to say that I thought was pretty cool was that the Blu-ray on this one does have, yet again, a ton of special features, and they are all really cool. For the first time on a 4K Blu-ray that I've owned, there's actually an Easter egg in the special features menu. I thought that was funny. The Blu-ray does have a Easter egg in it, and I haven't seen that in years, since like the DVD days. So the Easter egg is like action figures, and it had me laughing. I thought it was really funny. But it just is like a little featurette showing like the Rambo action figures of the time when this movie came out. It was pretty funny. It was really funny to watch. So if you have this on that regular Blu-ray, there's a Easter egg in the special features menu. Check it out. I thought it was pretty funny. Overall, this is yet again another phenomenal 4K release. Rambo 3 has never looked better. Again, it is just a ridiculously stupid action film, but I like it. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. Definitely not as good as the first film. The first film is an actual serious film. This is like a cartoon, but yet again, it's a pretty good cartoon. I enjoy it. Anyway, this is definitely worth your purchase, and go out and buy Rambo 3. This was, I think, $14.99. It may even be cheaper now, so go out and grab it if you like this film. I'm Andrew Cavanaugh. Thank you for coming back to Cavanaugh's Corner. If you liked this video, please subscribe to my channel and hit that thumbs up button. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.